So we are continuing with our studies in the amazing teachings of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, learning the book called Sichot Haran, and we're up to Torah Mem Daled, and this is about, tonight we're going to speak about something which is, I think, something related to everybody should be thinking about this. I also think that it's something connected to Rosh Hashanah, which is coming up. And we're talking about our names. We're talking about the fact that we have names and what is the significance of our names and what the ramifications of this significance are. And so Rabbi Nachman starts, B'inyan Hashem Shel Adam, regarding the name of a person, Hashem hu davar gadol ma'od v'dibar harba mizeh. So he spoke about the fact that a name is something big, that a person's name, it's something important. It's not something to just, whatever, that's just my name. He spoke about how the fact that we have a name is something which is meaningful and something which plays a role in our lives. How does it play a role in our lives? So he says like this: and he said that this is connected to the fact that we spoke about this last week, that there's a custom that at the end of the Shemona Esrei, so we say psukim which are related to our name. We say a pasuk which has the first letter of our name and ends with the last letter of our name. And the purpose of this is to remind us of our name, is to in case we forget about our name, so to remind us of our name. So we spoke about that, which is really the essence of what we're talking about. We spoke about that last week, that Rabbi Nachman says that why would it says that you're supposed to say these psukim so that when they ask you after you die, what's your name, so that you don't forget. So he says, why would a person forget his name when he's dead? So he says because when you're dead, you're depressed, because it's depressing to be dead, and when you're depressed, so then you don't know your name. Right? So really, today's class is really somewhat of a commentary on last week's. That why is it that when you're depressed, so you don't know your name, and it's really going to make a lot more sense once we understand what is the essence of a name. So he says that he was able to tell the people around him what is the essence of their name, what is it that their name represents, and so that there was a certain guy that was in the crowd, that his name was Shimon, and he spoke about him the most. And he said that Shimon hutzirif avon mash. He said Shimon, that if you switch around the letters of Shimon, so Shimon is avon mash, which means that sins will move away, will leave. And so that is what he stands for. He didn't want to explain too much, but he says Shimon, that if you want to know what is Shimon is all about avon mash. And he didn't really explain more than that, but don't think that just because your name is Shimon, so that means that you have the same thing as him. That is not like that. That really, I'm telling you that this particular Shimon, this is his essence, but a different person with his name is Shimon, it's very possible that his essence is something else entirely. And we understood that he understood exactly what is the essence of us and how that is connected to our names. Okay, so to understand what he's saying over here, there's what he's certainly saying that our essence is somehow in our name. So I think this is connected to an idea that comes up in other places as well, that first of all, if we take a step back, everybody knows that we love hearing our name. Like it's something that it does something inside of us when somebody calls us by our name. So it makes us feel good on a psychological level. So there's an interesting teaching from the Ben Ish Chai, that he says in the sefer called Od Yosef Chai, that on a psychological level, when you call somebody by her name, it will cause closeness. It will cause love and connection between the two people, and that's what he says. That's why it's painful to call somebody by their name if you can't stand that person. And he explains that this is something that has always existed. And this is how he explains the pasuk when it says by Shaul that Shaul asks Yonasan, Madua lo ba ben Yishai. Gam tmo gam hayam al alechem, that Shaul and David were having a fight, and so he asked Yonasan, his son, that he says, how come Ben Yishai hasn't shown up yesterday and today to eat with us? And so he doesn't call him by his name, he calls him his father's son. So why is that? Because there's something special about the name, that when you say somebody's name that you can't stand, it makes your blood boil. It's something, it's painful. It's painful to mention their name, because it makes this connection. Because it reminds me of the book The Magic Touch. That she talks about, Gil Mendelsohn talks about there's a certain power to touch, that when two people touch, that it'll naturally make a connection between them, and the only exception is if you can't stand the person, and if you can't stand the person, then when they touch you, you can't stand that. It causes you pain. Right? I had that just recently. I was at a wedding, and somebody that I was like that I don't like at all, so gave me a hug, and I was like, why are you hugging me? I can't stand you. And it's more painful. It's much more painful when you when you don't like the touch of somebody you dislike. So it's painful, but it's never neutral. So if you can't stand the person, it's going to cause you pain. If you're neutral, or you like the person, then it's going to cause you closeness, right? So the Beis Chai says it's the same thing with calling a person's name. That if you dislike the person, it's going to cause you pain. If you're neutral, or you like the person, it's going to bring you together. Okay, so why is this? So there's a teaching from the Sefer Bnei Yissaschar. Bnei Yissaschar writes in Chodesh Nisan that he says that a person's name is like a handle to his soul. Okay, meaning that if you think about it, what is a name? A name is a way of referring to a person, right? So what exactly are we referring to? We're not referring to their body, we're referring to their soul. So it's a way of relating to their soul. You have a soul. A soul is infinite. A soul is divine. A soul that can't be described. But yet, even though it's not describable, but when you have a name, so then I'm relating to the essence, to this infinite existence through its name. So it's a way of connecting to this infinite essence, and it's a handle to the neshama. So that being said, that we can understand another beautiful teaching from the Noam Elimelech, that the Rebbe Elimelech Melizhensk teaches that there's an interesting phenomenon, that somebody could be asleep, and when you call them by their name, they wake up. You ever experienced this? That a person, even though you're talking the whole time and they didn't stir, you call them by their name and they wake up. So the Noam Elimelech says, how is this? Why does this work out? Why is this true? It's because when you call a person's name, you're not speaking to their ears, you're speaking to their soul. So their ears are asleep. So their ears don't hear. When you make noise, so then it goes. It's nothing. But when you call their name, then it's not talking to their ears, it's talking to their soul. So it gets there. Okay, so that's why they wake up. So that's why when you calling a person, that's why we have a similar thing by angels, that like when you call an angel's name, so it's considered you're calling them, and it brings them to come, and it says you're not supposed to mention the names of bad angels because it's going to bring them into your proximity. It's things like that. So calling a person's name it's like throwing an arrow into their soul, and it's making somewhat of a connection, and that's why this is reality of calling a person's name that is a soul to soul connection. Okay, so this is really the background. This is really the background behind what Rabbi Nachman is saying in this teaching, that a person's name includes their essence. Okay, the part of that if you want to know what are you all about? What are you all about? So it's in your name, because otherwise, if it wouldn't be some kind of summary of what you really are, so how could it be that this is the handle to your soul? So So this has there's a lot of ramifications of this. That first of all, I'll say, actually, first I'll teach you. I'll share with you another thing that the Tzemach Tzedek writes that because the person's name is the handle to their soul, so really what that means is that it's through the letters of your name that you receive your life source. Okay? Meaning there's another interesting thing, and that is that in the word neshama, so Shem is the half of neshama. That the middle letters of neshama are Shem. So that implies that the Shem is part of your neshama. So the Tzemach Tzedek writes that it's through my name that I receive my life. Okay, so that's why there's a famous custom that if somebody is very sick, if someone is in danger, so we're going to change the name. Okay, why are we going to change the name? Because their life source was from their old name, and that's not working. They're in danger. Their life source is dwindling, and so if we give them a new name, so then that perhaps would give them a new life source. It's by actually, and for the same reason, it says that the Levavitch Rebbe said this, it's way before that, but that it says that you shouldn't change a name without a good reason. There's a concept of changing your name, doing a shinei shem, just like when a person is very sick, so we change his name. So if a person is, sometimes a person will just like be in the mood for a change. So they want to change the name. So it says that it's not a smart thing to change your name without a good reason, because it could be dangerous. Because it could be that until now your whole life source was from the fact that this was your name, and if you change your name, so like who says you have another? Like if a person is dying, so then okay, this life source is not working. So like maybe the other life source work. But if this one is working, so like if it's not broke, don't fix it. So like who knows? Maybe you're going to be giving up a good life source and be getting another good life source. So that's why it says that a person shouldn't change their name without a good reason. Okay, like just because the most common time I get this question is they just don't like it. They just it's too old-fashioned, or it's too I don't know, reminds them of the grandmother that they didn't like, or and if you see that like your life is upside down, if you see like you've been trying to get married for 20 years and like it's something something is like you need your mazel to change, so then beseder. But just because we don't change names for just because. So Rabbi Nachman himself was very into his own name. And in his introduction to Likutei Haran, so he writes a poem. He calls it a shir na'im, a nice poem. He writes, and like the whole poem is based on the letters of his name, and it's every stanza it starts with every 4 lines is nun chet mem nun, and he famously said that Nachman stands for Nachal Navea Makor Chachma, that is a river that is bubbling with the source of wisdom. And he said that his name is actually connected to his essence. He also said that Nachman is connected to the gematria. It's the gematria of Netzach. That the Netzach is one of the Sefirot, and the gematria of Nachman is the same as Netzach, and Netzach means never give up. That Ad HaNitzachon means like victory at all costs. That I'm never going to back down. Netzach means that whatever it takes, I'm able to overcome any kind of adversity, and like that was his motto. That was his life's mantra, that he had so much adversity. It's for people chasing him, people going against him, and controversy against him, and that's why he was the author of the phrase that "En yush ba'olam klal," that there is no such thing as despair. Despair is something that doesn't exist, and so he was all about Netzach. That's really what his essence was all about, and so so the Tzemach Tzedek says that a person receives their life source through their name, and that's why that defines them in the spiritual sense. So now, another repercussion of the fact that a person receives the life source through the name is that there's something that the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, that it's important for a person to have a Hebrew name, because if your life source is coming through the letters of your name, so then that's only true in Lashon HaKodesh. That's a Hebrew name is a real name, and like something which is just like a secular name. So then it's a way of calling you, but how could that be? How could it be the handle to your soul if it's just an English word? It's just so that's why he would recommend that anybody that wasn't given a Hebrew name at birth, so should get themselves a Hebrew name, and it'll improve the connection to their soul. It'll improve their Hashem's presence in their life, because everything will start coming down in a more normal way, in a more regulated way, and it's the way it's supposed to be, that through the letters of a person's name. So that's how he gets his chiyus from Hashem. So now, the first idea of a name? First idea of a name is that your name is the essence of your soul. So what does this say for us? That this is a call to action that the person should think, number one, that if you have a name, which you do, so then to think, like, what does it mean that I have a name? Right? We've spoken about before how one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is that they don't realize that I have a story. They don't realize that there's a narrative to my life. There is some kind of program, that there is some kind of there's a spiritual DNA inside of me, and this is actually who I am. And a person, it's actually, I can tell you from experience that it's the most pleasant thing in the world. It's the most exciting experience to be able to understand yourself. And to realize that I have a name, or in other words, that there is a way of analyzing myself and writing down what my essence is. Somebody told me that this is a new trend to ask ChatGPT, tell me what my essence is. Tell me what is my core essence. And I tried it. It was funny. Like it said that I can be rather harsh, but that. No, it's right. Because when he tells me stupid things, I say, no, please stop telling me stupid things.
And based on how you treat ChatGPT.
Yes. So I challenged it that maybe I'm actually not a harsh person, but I speak to you differently because you're not a human being. And he said, oh, thank you for bringing that to my attention. You're absolutely right. Anyway, so
I have feelings too.
So I would recommend not asking ChatGPT what is your core essence. I would recommend actually asking yourself what is your core essence, or asking your best friend what is your core essence, and then you need a psychiatrist. And to understand that I do have an essence, and that there is the mere fact that to know that I can be described in the. Like some people find this like as an exercise in like shidduch resumes, like to tell me a bit about yourself, like they're forced against the wall to talk about themselves in a personal way, in a personality kind of way, and some people don't. I recently received a shidduch resume for somebody that it was the longest thing. It was like it said every one of their 10 siblings and what they do and where they live and who they're married to and where their bubbies and zadies live and what the shows they're affiliated with. And I didn't say a word about his personality. What is so? But this is a time when you're not ready to get married until you know who you really are, right? So this is a wake up call that everybody, you have a name, and everybody that you're being called upon to understand what is my essence. And this is It's a very great thing to recognize that there is something to figure out about me. There is something to delve into and to try to understand myself in a deeper way. That I have a name, that means I have an essence, and I would like to reveal it. I would like to figure out what it is, and I would like to actualize it. And all the more so if I can figure out how that's actually hinted to in my actual name, then that's like it's like all the more so that's like an epiphany of like, wow, like to really figure out who we are. Now, I think it's a natural thing. We're programmed to want to really know who we are. Like I've read about people that they found out later in life that they're adopted, and like they wanted to find out who their parents are because like, why do you want to find? Well, who cares? Like, what's the difference? They gave you up like 30 years ago. But it's not because they want to know who they are. You want to know who you are. And we're programmed to really want to know who we are. And so the first lesson of having a name is that to know that we have an essence, we have a core essence that even ChatGPT doesn't know, and only we ourselves know. And this is the first thing about what it means to have a name. Okay. The second thing about a name is something that Nachman talks about later in the same book, in paragraph Tzadik Hey. He writes as follows: Da shehashem shenotnim lo la'adam hu lefi ha'pu'ula sheyesh lo la'adam lasot ba'olam. That there's another thing about a name, and that is that your name refers to your mission in life. Okay, well, the first thing was the essence of your soul, your core essence, and the second thing is that your name pertains to your shlichut, to your yi'ud, to your mission. Okay. So. ויש אחד שעושה הפעולה שלו בחצי שנים, שיש לו וצורך לקרוא לשם אחר, דהיינו שם חדש, כי השם שנעשתם לאדם הוא לאחר מעשה, לבושם שלו. So they have a person that he fulfills all of his mission at a very young age. Could be he was talking about himself. He himself passed away at 38. And you have a person that fulfills their entire mission at a young age. And so what happens then? What happens then? So he says that sometimes you have to give a person a new name, and that's what we spoke about. That sometimes a person like their old name is unnecessary, so then the person is dying. But if you give them a new name, so then they have another reason to live. That they have another reason to justify their existence, because now I have a new yud, I have a new mission, I have a new reason to live. So now this is connected to another idea that Rabbi Nachman talks about in the Haran, that there's an interesting gematria, that Shem is the same gematria as Sefer, 340. Shem is the same gematria as Sefer. So what is this? What does that mean? So that means that everybody is writing a book. Everybody over the course of our lives. So we're writing a book. I mean, I would have said we're writing a chapter in a book to make it. Somebody was once one rabbi was once making fun of another rabbi, and he said that every word that comes out of his mouth is like an entire book. And they asked him, like, what do you mean? So he said, it has no connection to the word before it and no connection to the word after it. So I would have said that our life is a chapter, because of course we are coming after all of the chapters that came before us, and we're coming before all the chapters that come after us. But it's also true that our life is a book. Our life is absolutely a book. It says Zeh Sefer Todot Ha'adam. So that our life is writing a book, and a person needs to be aware of the fact that every decision that I make, it has a place in my biography that's being written up there somewhere in the cloud of all clouds, and so in my name is my sefer. In my name is that what I was meant to be. That means that at the moment that I was given a name, so somehow in that name lies my potential. Okay, and this is really the idea behind the midrash, that it says that by Akedas Yitzchak, so it says Hashem called out to Avraham that Vayikra Malach Hashem in Shemaim V'Yamar Avraham Avraham, V'yomer hineni. So it says Avraham twice. So the Midrash says, why does it say Avraham twice? So it means Avraham lemala, hu Avraham lemata. That there's an Avraham above, and there's an Avraham below. What is the Avraham above? That is the potential. That is that when Hashem created Avraham, he had a certain story in mind, had a certain narrative that he was meant to write this book, and he was saying Avraham, that there's a symmetry, that there's a alignment between the Avraham down on this earth and the Avraham that was meant to come down, that in the potential. And so really, this is really the calling to all of us. That there's a teaching from the Gra that it says in Rosh Hashanah that Masay ish ufkudato. That Hashem, that on Rosh Hashanah, so it comes before Hashem, the Masay ish ufkudato. So the Gra writes, what's it mean, Masay ish ufkudato? The Masay, what we do. Ufkudato is what he planned us to do. What our potential was. What the script was that we were supposed to follow, that the narrative that we were meant to play out, and the judgment on Rosh Hashanah is that are we aligned with what we were meant to be doing? Like we're all put in this world for a purpose, and there's a reason. Like Hashem didn't deem the world complete without our little piece that we're adding to the picture, and so that's what we're here to do. So a person's going to say that I don't care about my mission, I don't care about my purpose, I'm just going to smoke weed. So then Hashem says, that wasn't why I put you here. And that's the judgment. So this is the second element of a name, that part of our name is our mission, and it's incumbent upon every person to know that because I have a name, part of my having a name is that I have a mission. And so this is something that we need to ask ourselves. It's not enough to ask ourselves what's my core essence. We have to ask ourselves what's the purpose of my life? What was I actually meant? What was Hashem thinking? Why did he put me in this world? Because there was something for me to do that nobody else could do, and that the world wouldn't be the same without me. What could it be? What could it be? Am I doing it? Am I going the wrong way? Am I just trying to pretend and just trying to maybe it's on one hand it's a little bit stressful to know that there's something which is expected from me, but on the other hand, it's very empowering because it means that I have something that I need to do. That Rabbi Nachman writes that one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is they don't have emunah in themselves. That they have emunah in Hashem, but they don't have emunah in themselves. And he explains, what does it mean to have emunah in yourself? It means to believe that your avodah means something to Hashem. To believe that Hashem cares about your life. To believe that Hashem thinks that you are precious. That Hashem thinks that the world wouldn't be okay without you. And this is the most empowering thing. This is certainly anybody who has v'shalom commits suicide, this is precisely their problem. That they absolutely say clearly that who needs me? The world will do just fine without me, and that is called not having emunah in yourself. That's called forgetting your name, and that's why, to circle back with that what we said from last week, that Rabbi Nachman says the person who's depressed forgets their name. So what it means that a person depressed forgets their name? It means that a person depressed, they've forgotten that they have a message, that they have a mission. They've forgotten that the world actually needs them. You've lost touch with what you're doing. You've lost touch with the fact that you make a difference, and so that's why you make a mistake. You make a tragic mistake to think that the world will be the same without you. The world will not be the same without you. If you think the world will be the same without you, that means that you forgot your name. So this is why it's a very important wake-up call to everybody that the second ramification, the second implication of the fact that we have a name is the fact that we have a mission. Okay? And lastly, we come to the third implication of a name, the Rabbi Nachman writes. And this is also in Torah Tzaddik Hey. And he says as follows. He says that Hashem hu b'chinas levushim, that your name could be considered like a clothing. Why is that? K'mo shekatuv, ani Hashem hu shemi, uchvodi la'acherim lo etim. Okay, so it says that Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is my name, and my honor I will not give to anybody else. So we have that the pasuk connects Shem and Kavod. My Shem, my name, is my Kavod, is my honor. And also, by the way, we say in Shema, Baruch Shem Kavod Machotam, that blessed is the name of His honor. Okay, so the name and our honor is connected, right? So, and then he says, V'kvodi hi b'chinas levushim, ki Rabbi Yochanan kara lemane mechabdusa. Then he says that there's a connection between a person's honor and their clothing. Why? Because it says in the Gemara that Rabbi Yochanan would call his clothing his honor. Okay, that's what Rabbi Yochanan said. So what does that mean? What does it mean that Rabbi Yochanan would call his clothing his honor? So what does it really? What's your honor mean? What's your honor? So your honor is the way that other people look at you, the way that you are acclaimed by your surroundings. That's the definition. That's the definition of your honor. So that's why your kavod is connected to your clothing, because what's clothing all about? Clothing is the way that I express myself to the world. Okay? That I show up with a certain way of dress. I show up with a certain way that I want to carry myself, and so that is my kavod. If I dress in a shlumpy way, so then the way that people relate to me is that he's a shlum. If I dress in a put together way, people look at me like I'm a put together person. It's also associations. You know, that if I wear a kippah, so then I'm making a statement that look at me like a religious Jew. If I'm putting on a Yankees cap, so then people are going to look at me like a Yankees fan, and like whatever, like University of Michigan, whatever it is. They're my clothing is, my associations is the way that people relate to me. So Rabbi Nachman says that this is actually what the name is all about. Okay, so this is based on the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot that we talk about in the concept of names. So it says in Pirkei Avot in Parak Daled Mishnah Gimel that there's three crowns. There's the Keter of Kahuna. There's the crown of priesthood, and there's the crown of Malchus, there's the crown of kingship. The Keter Shem Tov Ola Al Kulam. But the crown of a good name is greater than the crown of priesthood, and greater than the crown of kingship. So this is what we say that what Rabbi Nachman is saying that the part of a name is my reputation. Okay, and so he writes about this a little bit more clearly in the Kutim Haran in Torah Nun Tet. So he says that really the idea of a name is that because my name is my reputation. So Shem Tov means Shekol HaNefashot Yit'avu Ta'ava Liot Nishrashim Bishma. The part of having a name, having a good name, is that when I have a good name, so other people want to be associated with me. Okay, that's what it means to have a Shem Tov. It's not like, if you say, tell me about so-and-so. He's a good guy. And you ask him, oh, is he your friend? So it's no, I wouldn't want to. But what's it mean a good guy? A good guy means that you want to be associated with him. That's what a Shem Tov means, right? So Rabbi Nachman says that the third element of having a name is that I affect the people around me. Okay? Meaning, and if you think about it, it's really a bit self-evident because why do you need names? Like why do we need names in the first place? The only reason why we need names is for society. If we would be the only person in the world, so then there would be no need for a name. Like my name is how other people call me. And so if there wouldn't be a need for people to relate to one another, then there wouldn't be a concept of names. So part of a name is what other people call me. So in a broader sense, so my name is that how people look at me, how people think about me. And Rabbi Nachman says that really to have a Shem Tov means that my name is such, my reputation is such, that people want to have something to do with me, that they want to get from me. And so this really is telling us the part of the name is that I'm called upon to make a difference in the world. Okay, so the first step was that to understand I have a core essence. Okay, and to appreciate the fact that there's something about me that is the DNA of everything that I'm meant to be and of everything that I am, and to get to know myself. Okay. Number two, that the second element of my name is that I have a shlichut, that I have a mission. Okay, that there is a narrative, a sefer of something of what my life was meant to be, and I'm being called upon to live up to that potential. Number three, my name is my influence. Okay, that every single person has an influence, and this is something that Rabbi Nachman speaks about elsewhere in Perek Tar Nun Vav, that he says that every single Jew needs to know that you have malchut, that whether you know it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, that you make a difference, and you're constantly influencing the people around you. Well, it could be it's just your roommates, it could be it's just your siblings, it could be just like a very small group, but every single person is an influencer. And don't forget that part of your name, part of what you're called upon to be living up to your name is not just to live up to yourself in your own, but you're being called upon to make the world into a better place, to make the people around you somehow better people by the fact that they're connected to you. And therefore, you're being called upon to make sure that you're making yourself in such a reputation that people want to be around you. Okay, so this is a very it puts a person in a place that he needs to live up to something. That a person needs to know that I live for other people, and I'm expected to make a difference in the world. And this is also a very Rosh Hashanah kind of idea, because the Baalei Mussar say, Rabbi Yochanan would say that the best way to look good in Hashem's eyes is to be a person that other people like, to be a person that other people need. Like there's a metaphor that he would say that there was this very expensive restaurant that like ridiculously expensive restaurants that like it would cost like $2,000 a plate, and like even the richest people, like they would only allow themselves to go to this restaurant like every once in a while, and so once this rich guy saw another guy he started at the restaurant, and he starts like small talk, and he says, well, how are you enjoying the restaurant? He says, nice. And like, do you come here a lot? So he says, yeah, I'm here every day. This is my place. This is my place to be. I said, really? Whoa, are you like a mafia king or something? How can you afford to? So he says, no. In fact, I eat here for free. Not only do I eat here for free, but they pay me because I work here. I'm the maintenance guy. I'm the maintenance guy whenever something is broken. So they call me. So not only do I get to eat here for free, but they even pay me. And so Yochanan said that this is a metaphor for life. That if you're a person that's just a taker, so then you have to pay very, very, very high stakes to be here. Then you have to justify your existence. But if you're a person that other people need, so then not only you're not going to have to pay for your existence, you don't have to justify your existence, but Hashem is going to pay you because you're on His team. You're a guy that makes a difference to the world. So of course you're supposed to be here. Like that is like the only way. Like if we think about how are we fulfilling our responsibilities to Hashem, nobody's fulfilling the responsibility to Hashem. There's like it's impossible. It's completely impossible. Even Moshe Rabbeinu made mistakes. It's completely impossible for a person to live up to their to justify their existence. It's irrational. The only way that we can justify our existence is by circumventing that, by being a person that Hashem wants here. How do we become a person that Hashem wants here? To be a person that other people need. To be a person that we make a difference to the people around us. So of course Hashem wants us here. Like we're on His team. So this is the third element of shame. The part of having a shame is to be a person that has a good reputation. Part of being a reputation is to be an influencer, to cause ourselves to be that person that the people around us, that they are being changed in a positive way, and they're appreciating us, and they're noticing our name. Our name becomes part of them. Okay. So now, the last piece, the last thing that I want to speak about regarding name is something that Rabbi Nachman says, that sometimes a person's name can change. Okay, like this is something that we started reading in Tzaddik, that Rabbi Nachman says that sometimes a person can outlive his old name, and now it comes time that he needs a new name. Okay, and so he writes that this is something that's going to be that when Mashiach comes, that it says, he brings the pasuk, it says that V'ra'u kol ha'amim tzidkach v'karei lach shem chadash, that the Jewish people are going to get a new name when Mashiach comes. So what does it mean? That they're going to realize that our mission that we had when we were in exile no longer befits us, and so it's time for us to have a new name. Okay? There's a lot of interpretation where the person could say what is exactly going to be the difference, but we can certainly say that when Mashiach comes, then we're going to have a new purpose. Like, it's going to be probably part of the purpose is going to be our relationship with the non-Jews. Okay, that when Mashiach comes, then it's not going to be such an inward kind of growth, but part of our name, part of our essence, part of our mission is going to be, now it's time for us to spread the wealth, to spread the wealth, and to make a difference, to spread the word of Hashem, to spread spirituality to the entire universe. But that's the new name. But the point is that a person needs to constantly reassess. What is my name today? Okay, what is that? Maybe my name yesterday isn't enough for me. Maybe it's time for me to add on a new name. Not that people should start calling me a new name, but maybe I need to add on to my mission. Maybe in my journal, when I was writing what I stand for and what my mission statement is and what my plans are for life. So maybe I can write another chapter. Maybe I can expand my vision, and a person should never feel locked in to a name, and to understand that a person's name is something which can constantly be growing, can constantly be evolving, and we're actually expected that our name should evolve, and v'karei lach shem chadash, and to constantly, and he says that's why that he ends this paragraph. Al Kain Moshe Rabbeinu alav hashalom haya lo kama shemot, and that's why Moshe had 10 names. Because that Moshe Rabbeinu, because he was constantly growing, so that's why he had so many names. So the fourth takeaway of names is that our names are constantly evolving, and so we can certainly be finding different meanings and different depths in what our name is, and it's certainly all connected to our Hebrew name, but that's only Hashem knows, or Rabbi Nachman knows how our essence and our mission is all connected to what is the name. But to summarize, what is the significance? What is the significance of our name? That number one, to understand that I have an essence. And this is that I'm not as enigmatic as I would like myself to believe. That it's easy to just say, tell me about yourself. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I have a name. I'm called upon to understand my essence. And if I don't understand my essence, then I'll never be able to come to the next stage, which is, what is my mission? Okay? Once I understand my essence, then I can understand what my mission is, because by definition, my mission is based on my essence. Hashem creates my mission. He writes my mission based on who I am, and because it's only I'm the only person that can fulfill my mission because I'm the only person who is exactly who I am. And number 3, part of our mission necessarily includes making a difference to the people around me, being an influencer, and of course that to know that this is a question. These 3 questions are questions that I need to ask myself every single day. Okay, it's not enough. It's not enough that I asked myself this question last year. It's not enough that I asked myself these questions 2 years ago. I once saw this video from some inspirational speaker that he has no arms and no legs, and so he's standing there on stage, and he says that every person needs to ask themselves, who am I? Where am I going? What is my purpose? And if you don't have an answer to those 3 questions, then my friend, you are more disabled than I am. Okay, it's really to know that, to constantly be asking ourselves, who am I? Who am I? So I bless us all. I bless us all that we should really be able to know our names. We should be able to understand little pieces about who we are, to figure out pieces about our personality, and be able to based on our knowledge of ourselves, to be able to move forward in using the positive parts in the best way, and being aware of our faults, and being aware of what are the things that we need to be careful about, and through understanding who we really are, to really clarify to ourselves what is our mission, what are we meant to do, and to have an amazing effect on the people around us. And this is what Rosh Hashanah is all about. This is what let alone the idea that we said before of Maseh Ish of Churato, but to show up to Rosh Hashanah that Hashem, that I'm ready. To show Hashem, I know what I'm excited. I'm excited about this new year. I'm ready. I know who I am, and if I don't know, so Hashem, tell me who I am. There's an idea that says Hashem Ori Zu Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is a day of light. What do you mean it's a day of light? It's a day of insight. It's a day of insight. So to come to Rosh Hashanah with this understanding that Hashem, lighten up my eyes, that help me understand who I really am. Let me understand what my mission is. I know that it's probably much greater than anything I imagined. So just tell me, let me really, really understand who I really am and where I'm going. And B'ezrat Hashem, through this understanding, we'll be able to really actualize it and really be the best version of ourselves. B'ezrat Hashem. L'chaim.
Amen.